Well, you won't get a lemon from Toyota of Orange.
Wrestling buddies want to be your buddy.
Drug-free's the way to be.
What do you think you're doing?
Well, Miss Musso, we were just doing a promo.
Welcome to Home Wrestling League.
I am Penny Dreadful, joined by Drew No Gimmicks Needed Radley and Crystal the Casual at the Unicorn Soundboard, and this is Home Wrestling League, where thanks to Drew, we're always right about everything. I don't know why anyone thought for a second Jordan Grace was going to get that title. They got too excited.
Like I said, it had to be some screwy ass finishes.
Yes, and it was appropriately screwy.
Dana Brooke, or Ash
the
by
former Dana Brooke.
her slave name, Ash by Elegance, just show up and just.
Whose idea was that? It sounds like
knowing
like a line of clothing by a former Charlie's Angels that you get at Target.
It does.
Knowing Dana Brooke, it was probably her shit. Like as much as she, like we had a segment that was cut out, but she is one of my wrestling boys where they're not that great, but you love them anyway.
There are a lot of those.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we really get into it, we probably have like a lot of those.
Shout out to OSW. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Let's see. First up, I just want to mention that Dave Meltzer needs a vacation. He needs a lot of things. So he mentioned or accused, for lack of a better word, WWE of making sure anytime AEW has shitty ratings that there's someone writes about it, which I kind of feel like back in the day, you know, like Monday Night Wars, where it was two crazy, you know, big-headed white men just looking for any way to get at each other, that really they would play up each other's ratings. And because that was the only way to watch it, that it was important information. Now I feel like people who I think people think that they pay a lot more attention to each other than they probably do. Like, I don't think either Tony Khan is probably sweating WWE a little bit more, depending on the day, but I don't think in general that they really sweat each other like people think they do. They're too busy doing their own thing.
Yeah.
With how much work it takes to get off, I really doubt that they really care about it like that. Do you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They think, I was like, oh man, we got to do great for the ratings. Like, well, why don't you make a better show first? Like, nah, we have to just get better ratings.
We don't really pay attention to much ratings here wise, because like we're always watching, so how much other people are watching doesn't like matter a super lot to us individually.
And also, we don't get paid for this.
Hello.
Like, why do I care about that? Like, we watch it for entertainment. We don't watch it for ratings.
Yes, exactly. Meltzer probably gets paid to talk about ratings, and that's why he's always running his mouth about it.
Like, Meltzer is hilarious because he's created the Observer near 40 years ago, and he has talked about wrestling.
Yeah, good for him.
Wrestling for near 40 years of his life, and he gets paid for it. But the tribalism that you see online is just a bunch of weirdos that are just like, do you actually care about the rate? Like, something tells me that you don't have a cable subscription, so I don't understand why you give a shit about these ratings.
Like, why do you care that much? I feel like it's only the job of like two people at each company to pay attention to ratings and to kind of track that. But God, wow, it's weird. You got to stop that. You got to stop.
Right.
Like, no one cares about it that much. It's too many of y'all going on about it. But I could not believe, and I still can't believe, that you told me Ricochet was actually leaving. Because apparently the scuttlebutt from like an hour ago from Fightful is that he's been pulled from all the future shows. So the last time we see him could be tonight, which I'm still shocked by.
We're doing this as the Braun Breaker either Dragunov match is going on. So
yeah,
I'll probably already know what happens by the time this comes out, but
Yeah,
you
we'll sure him. Yeah,
this is what happens.
I can't believe he was actually listening to Osprey. Like, look, we said it before. Him leaving makes sense because they've really just been all over the place with him, and I understand why he would leave. But then where does he go from here? Like, and I'm gonna say the same thing about Penta like later. He's gonna get lost in the sauce wherever he goes.
Yeah, Penta is going to be a part of the LWO, and we'll never see of him again.
Exactly.
With Ricochet has already gotten what he was with the company for 6 years. If it's done,
a minute,
yeah. So he signed 2 3-year contracts, and now they're over. So he can do whatever he wants. Like, he's one of the most exciting wrestlers in the world. He's one of the best flyers in the world.
Yeah.
He can just do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't have to sign a long-term contract anywhere. And like I think Tony Khan is doing year-long or multiple year-long contracts, and that's whatever. But like, he could just show up like at TNA or do some stuff.
That's true. Yeah, he can just
New Japan.
Yeah,
Noah. Like,
you think it's likely he'll just kind of make the rounds?
I think wrestlers aren't that smart, so I think he'll just sign to AEW. Like, it's just like
that would be a mistake for him to straight up sign with AEW. He will get lost.
Yeah, like, that's one of his issues right now. Is like, no matter where he goes, he's gonna get lost. Like, there was a time, like, when Ricochet debuted, he debuted in the NXT that was in New Orleans in 2018, and he was in that amazing ladder match where it has Adam Cole was there, and then they have the guy who was talking shit about gay people, and they ended up finding that he did gay porn. They had
that always happens that way. But who did that? Is he still there?
Oh God, no. He has been ousted, and like it was a very, very funny day of Twitter when that happened. But I say that because this match, it was a 5-star match, and it was the
oh really?
Yeah, it was the New Orleans takeover. It started off the show, and it was a 5-star match. It was Adam Cole, EC3, Killian Dane, who is now Big Damo and married to Nikki Cross, Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, and Ricochet. So
Ricochet.
Yeah, it's just, no matter where he goes, he's going to be exciting to see. He's one of the most exciting wrestlers in the world.
Real quick, apparently this last QR code came out tonight, which I have not been watching any of those things. No, thank you. They're hinting that Wyatt 6 could be debuting as early as next week. Now,
they're debuting next week. Like, because it's the QR code that I saw, I'm like, oh, that's very definitive. Yeah. Where it's happening next week. So
it just says that it says www.com June 17th backwards.
Oh, of course.
That's what it says.
Look, if they get this right, it could be the best thing they've done in years. If they get it right.
It was very dramatic, the message that was in that QR code.
Yeah. It says something like you've turned down your salvation or something. Look, it could be the best spoopy thing since the Brood, since the Ministry. Like, it could be good.
Let's see. It's just it's so crazy. It's like this is something like straight out of like some kind of like a horror fantasy novel.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it say? I've shown you signs and wonders, yet you do not believe. I offered you hope. Freedom from the pit. You spit in my face.
Very
my family.
dramatic copy. So I'm like, you better back that up. And I think they will.
And then it ends with your belief is indifferent, it is inevitable. You will learn you are finite, and you shall behold what we have become. A massacre is coming. Woo! That's insane.
Get your shit together. We're coming for you.
But for whom? For everyone?
Everyone.
Everyone? Okay.
We ain't playing.
Thank God. Do you think that they kind of replace the Judgment Day?
They would have to.
Yeah.
if what I
Or
just
like
saw,
their final,
Mhm.
they're the straw in the camel's back, or the nail in the coffin.
as it were.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that would make sense because if Drew wins, and then they'll have a thing, and all 6 of the white people show the fuck up.
That could work too. How interesting. Very interesting. You know what? There's a lot of different ways to go with that.
It's almost like these stories can, evolve.
It's almost like the stories can evolve. It's almost like it's on purpose.
Yeah.
And I guess moving into last week's Raw, Liv Morgan is becoming really fucking annoying, which I think is great. I love a very annoying heel. How they've worked this angle is definitely refreshing because back in the day, you would have already seen Liv and Dom in a bed in the middle of the ring like a million times by now.
That'd be fucking.
I mean, they practically were.
Dramatic.
They practically were this last time.
Tonight, yeah. But
well, they would have been worse about it.
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I think it's funny though that they keep labeling this like a romance as if she's not throwing herself at him and he's like, no. Ew. Like everyone's saying no, and she's like, it's inevitable. It's like
exactly.
She's fucking Pepe Le Pew and he's that cat.
Yes.
It's so not good by today's Me Too standards, but it's just funny that it's happening like that. I'm like, oh, okay, he's like
still
turning
think
her
it gives
down.
crust, single white female, fatal attraction.
Yes, it's like the girl who won't accept no for an answer.
Yes, swim fan.
Yes, and it's like mildly horrifying.
It's also hilarious because I put some notes. I'm like, Finn Balor's an amazing fucking friend. Because like, hey, my friend is getting sexually assaulted by this attractive blonde woman. It's like, hey, knock it off.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's stepping in, and I respect that. Like, Dom gets married, has a attractive wife, then has the storyline with Rhea Ripley, who's attractive, and then now he's lucking his way up to Liv Morgan.
His way up.
Yeah, like
failing his way up.
If Trish Stratus shows up like this, he is gonna have a GOAT run. Like
Stratus, that would be hilarious.
Like I have said, Dominic Mysterio is one of my favorite wrestlers, and I still stand by that. Like
and back in the ring tonight, yay.
Yeah, finally. When people say that aura for aura shit, like that motherfucker has an aura around him, and like God bless him. It's just a bunch of skinny blonde women just trying to fuck him, and it's hilarious.
That was actually really funny with the Pat's little play-by-play of Liv draping herself all over Dom. It was actually pretty funny.
Oh, then her hotel key, how she put it in his pants. Like, what is happening?
Oh, tonight, yes.
Yeah.
She put the hotel key in the pants. And like the funny part about that is when we go back to the Judgment Day, the hotel key is gone.
Right? He's like,
well, didn't Finn Balor like take it out and like slam it on the table or something? Like, that was his thing. Wasn't he the one that did that, or was it Dominic that did that?
It might have. I'll see.
Yeah, someone took it out and they were like, no.
But Damien did point it out. He's like, oh, the key is actually gone. So yeah, it's interesting stuff is happening here, but it's fucking hilarious to be honest. It's pretty funny.
City Boys up.
City Boys up. I'm actually enjoying this little program that Ludwig and Sheamus are having because that was a great opening match that they gave him. It was last week. It was the first match, a good solid 20 minutes. And anyone who works with Sheamus has to tap him really hard on the chest because he's so white, everything shows up really hard. So that was great. I actually like it because it made Ludwig look good, and it made him look intimidating in a way that I haven't really considered before, which is good. He needs his own thing. Now that they're not like a trio anymore. I like that. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Kiana James debuted. I understand Natalia's function as the one who always pushed over the new kids, and that's great and fine. But I wanted to have a story at some point. Sonya Nese seems to be getting her claws in there. Why did Kiana James come out with like a purse?
That's one of the things she uses. Like whenever you watch her stuff in NXT, she cheats in matches, so she'll have a brick in there. Like she's a businesswoman.
A brick?
Yeah, she's a businesswoman. That's why she's carrying around a purse.
That's business women carry around purses.
She does.
But
That's her business brick.
a business brick. I like that. I prefer that actually. Cause just having it in a random bag. You know what? You know what it gave? She just kind of came out in her gear with, you know, the kind of Louis Vuitton clutch, not clutch, because it was like a regular bag. And it just kind of reminded me of when you give a child, like a really young child, a random bag and nothing else that goes with it to play with.
I'm going to
That's
work.
what, exactly. I was like, if you're gonna like do businesswoman, like you know, dress up like, you know, Stacy Keibler when she was doing Miss Hancock. Like, why did the business? It doesn't work for me.
I think the difference
It's
is
so weird.
like with Miss Hancock, it was Vince Russo, and then she went into Vince.
Yes.
Like Kiana James is
Mhm.
more a wrestler. Like she's one of the first crop of Shawn Michaels being like, I could turn this Instagram baddie into a wrestler.
Mhm.
And like we'll get into NXT, but like this man has accomplished this goal where he's just like, I can turn any
Fantastic.
Instagram baddie into
Mhm.
a professional wrestler.
I can't
'Cause
believe it's working.
it doesn't take women long to understand the
Mhm.
nuances of pro wrestling. They do it, they get it faster,
Yeah.
and then they'll stop faster. Like they'll
Yeah.
some of them just fucking retire like right in their early 30s.
Finally, the turnkey system I thought they were doing before, and now they're back onto it. Is Kiana going to be like the Tiffy, but for Raw?
No,
Is that-
no, Kiana's what is it?
her own thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Alright.
she does. Like she has great character. Tiffany is just good at everything.
Speaking of Tiffy, foregone conclusion, she's already picked out a pink briefcase. That's fine. My future husband Jay came out and said, "I'm getting the briefcase." Who gets the men's briefcase this time?
That's the one that I'm.
It's hard to call, right? I can't even call
Yeah.
exactly who's going to be in that match.
Because I feel like it's gonna be Elia,
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Joseph Goebbels, aka
Not Goebbels.
it's like, I mean, that's like Gunter is fucking Hitler, so like you need a Goebbels. Elia,
Let's see.
Ludwig, and Jay. And oh my god,
They'll have Raw and SmackDown people, right?
sorry,
And
they're
then
talking about the room key on Raw right now. That's why I stopped.
What are they saying?
They're like passing it around. It's like, no, we're not doing this, and then put it away.
And I guess whomever has it in his hand at the end of the night is like,
Yeah, well, I mean,
one
we'll cut.
who,
Is the one that has to go to her hotel room.
all right.
Like a fucked up bride's bouquet.
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to go to the hotel room and fuck Liv Morgan. So, ugh.
All right, ready to get into Dynamite?
Yeah.
They got right down to business with MJF opening that show immediately. Thank the wrestling gods, he is back. I actually missed him a lot. And as much as I love Swerve, as much as I even love Oscar on the mic these days, I don't think there's anyone over there who can talk and just run that crowd the way MJF can.
Yeah,
He just has it.
he's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
MJF is like, I just
The weird hair notwithstanding, whatever he and Drea have going on with the weird hair, it's
no,
weird.
you might as well cut that shit. But like
right?
at this point, like watching MJF promos is always weird because it's just like it's a guy who literally just shits on everybody, and like he just buries
Weirdly enough,
he is
putting
Liv
him in front
Morgan.
of Roosh is strange. Well, go on. What about Liv Morgan?
Sorry, he is not. No, I meant to say that he is the Britt Baker of his division.
Oh, that's very true. Yes.
Where Britt Baker for a long time was the champion, and then she would just shit on everybody, and then it kind of fucked up the women's division in a weird way because there was no one to rival her on the mic.
Important to her.
And then Thunder Rosa came along, and then she wins, and then her journey was more about her journey for the belt was more about the journey instead of actually having the belt. And then
That's true. Yeah.
that division's
Always
kind
is.
of been a weird mess ever since.
Yeah. Shame. I think that putting him in front of Roosh is perfect because they're both really great and returning from injury, and it automatically kind of jumpstarts both of them. I feel like he dropped everyone's name and called everybody out, and yet put over Roosh and insulted him in the same breath. Like he talked shit about his clothes and all that kind of stuff, and then 2 minutes later he was telling him like, actually, I respect you. You come from pedigree. You can actually fight. Like, how did you do that? How did he do both? That's quick. That's amazing work to me because it's not easy to do.
Yeah, get you a man that can do both. But yeah, like
and
when
with the same intonation too. Like he didn't change anything about the way he was saying it, but he managed to both shit on him and put him over at the same time. I was amazed.
Yeah, well, I was watching it with Crystal, and she said, "Wow," he said, "Go fuck your mother," and that's what they bleeped out in Spanish.
He sure did.
Yes, yes,
He
right.
Said, "Chinga tu madre." I was like, "Whoa!"
Right. I was like,
spicy.
I don't know exactly what he said there, but it was bad, and it was in Spanish.
Yes, he said, "Fuck your mom."
Ugh.
I was like, "Whoa, whoa there, buddy."
Too good. And then they did a whole thing with getting like 10 guys from the back to come out and separate them. That's always good. That always like hypes it up and makes both of them look, more dangerous and crazier. That was great. Good stuff.
Local wrestlers is like
local
wrestlers just taking the bump. Like, hey, weren't you like? Why do these security guards have long sleeve tattoos and look like they're on steroids, but not the good type of steroids? The dirt, like you're not like you're years away from getting rock steroids. You're not.
What do they call it when you get to like appear for like an evening? I forget what they call it.
Appear.
Like when you're in the crowd or like
background. Like it's like background work for Hollywood.
Yes, exactly.
Seat filling.
Yeah.
Seat filling.
Yeah. Because one of the funny things.
Plants, like when they plant people on purpose, like in the crowd and stuff.
Yes, act crazy and do silly shit. Yeah.
Yes.
The funniest things is, a friend of the show, Tommy, and I would go to one of the local wrestling shows, and there would be guys who we see in the wrestling shows every time they would go to LA. They would either be wrestling or be a part of the show where you're like, oh, that's the guy from the wrestling show we always go to. Every time it's like when they do enhancement talent, it's usually
enhancement talent. Thank you. That was
okay, that was the word. Okay.
There's the professional wrestling term we were looking for. I'm like, seat fillers.
Yeah, because there are people that they plant in the crowds, sometimes for whatever reason, and then they have those guys who you look back 5 or 6 years later and be like, he was next to Sasha Banks 5 or 6 years ago. One of those things, and it's kind of hard to like. Now I kind of pay attention to their faces more because down the line they're going to be out in front of you somewhere.
It's like you watch some old shit and you're like, that's a long hair Cesaro.
Exactly.
The fuck is he doing?
Right? Exactly. The following match. Look, I just know that someone who isn't Tony is doing the booking right now. It's too good. It makes too much sense. That like fatal 4-way with Ray Phoenix, Orange Cassidy, Jay Lethal, who I missed. I was like, oh yay, it's the music. He's back out. I like Jay Lethal. And Kyle O'Reilly, that was a good match. And it was a great way to get all 4 of them in TV to go for a shot at a title. They was not going to win anyway because it's Ospreay. But it means we got to see him work. It means we got to see him out there. That was a good match. I know you have shit to talk about Alex Abrahantes, but I'm Alex Hive. That man is full of energy. That is a fucking manager. He knows how to hype up a crowd. Every time he comes out, it looks like he just did a whole line of Coke and an Adderall. My God, he's great. I love him.
He's the Bill Fonzie because our RVD in the 90s had the referee named Fonzie, and he would blow the fucking whistle. He's the equivalent of that, but not as like having bad teeth or with an annoying whistle.
I gotta find him.
I just looked up the official website of Alex Abrahantes. It's literally called Home of the Hype Man. TV personality and content creator.
Yep, that's a hype man.
He does he does a lot of stuff. He's got the wrestling, QVC. QVC. What does he sell on QVC? Let's find out. But that does not shock me.
I love that. He's like, I got 5 jobs. This is
Oh.
only one of them.
He sells laptops, HP laptops.
It's fantastic.
I mean, why not? It's a good brand.
Exactly. When you
What
work
else
for
does he do?
AW, you got to have a side hustle.
Mhm.
Content creation and an influencer. I believe it. It doesn't show me exactly.
All managers
what.
are influencers. It is their job.
Oh my gosh, he does unboxing videos.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow. Okay, this man does a lot. You're right.
Yes.
He is the hype man.
Yes, he's awesome. I love him. I always like to see him. In like 20 minutes, they had a fatal 4-way, right? They didn't put a Ray in front of Ospreay. That would be a fucking great match. So like in 20 minutes, they had that match, and they furthered the story with both Trent and Orange and Satin Willow. I was like, look at this. Someone is in charge who's not Tony. Beautiful work.
I was excited to see a woman slap a man in the ring. I was like, oh,
Right?
yes.
I knew that something was going to happen, but I still gasped when it happened.
I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yes. And weren't you right about a woman having to hit a man? You said it about Willow, but
Mhm.
it happened to be Stat this time.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
it has to be a woman and a man with a full-on match, and as soon as that happens, the woman will be the biggest female star in that company.
For sure. Yeah.
Like I feel like they would do a better job of, and why the reason why both companies don't really want to do it is because the violence towards women.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm not gonna put Gunther in the ring with Zelina Vega. You know what I'm saying?
And only one type of woman can take the RKO.
Oh my God! Oh, KO out of nowhere!
On that show, also for once, Swerve defended that title and it was the main event. I don't know why every time he's not on that show, it's not the main event. Confusion to me.
We got to get Bruv in there, and then we gotta see what the Elite's doing. And then maybe we could give a shit about this black ass champion.
Ugh. That was a good match, though. I think I'm becoming a fan of Roddy.
Yeah,
Roddy and Russell.
I mean, Crystal definitely is a fan of Roddy. So
right, I remember that.
Yeah.
But he's actually he wrestles in a way that I don't usually see what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because usually you can expect to see how a move will finish, but he'll kind of like cut it in the middle and ended up like bringing his knee up, or it's unpredictable, which I think is the right way to put his work. That it's awesome.
I think I said it and we've cut it out before, but when Cody Rhodes was able to get released from WWE like 8 years ago, it is 8 years. 8 years ago when that happened. He had a list of all the things he wanted to do, and he was able to do every one of those things.
Right, a list.
except for wrestle Roderick Strong. And that's the one.
Really?
That's the only thing he didn't. He was able to do literally everything on that list. Like,
oh man,
he went to PWG and Bola, which I went to. He went to Japan. He wrestled all of these people that he wanted to wrestle, and the only one he wasn't able to do was Roddy, because Roddy went to WWE.
Really?
Right around that time that he wanted to do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, shame. It'll happen one day. We'll put a pin in it. We can still see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick note on Rampage. That main event was Sarita Deeb and Mina Shirakawa, which I thought was the perfect thing to do. And it was a good long match too. It was a solid 20 minutes, I think. It was great. I love Mina. She definitely has that kind of that style that we see from Japanese female wrestlers often, like the Joshi style, where they're more about precision than any other kind of thing.
It's about
great.
It's about speed. Like, she's a 5-time Stardom champion. So, like,
wow,
I mean,
yeah,
she had the tag team with her and Mariah,
right?
And they were part of because in Stardom they have they have cliques. So she was part of a clique called Club Venus.
That's cute.
It's like Club Venus, and they come out and dance, and Mina would be out there with her weirdly proportioned body, and
Club Venus is so Sailor Moon coded.
Right.
It is.
It's like Venus.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just these two girls that would just party and like dance to the ring, and
Mhm.
now
I love that. That's adorable.
and now they're in a threesome storyline where, you know, one of it's like they're essentially fighting for the custody of
Mariah. Yeah.
Mariah May's heart,
Yeah.
and it's just really funny to
Oh,
see.
Yeah.
she's the one I like that has like an osprey like coat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love her look. Oh my god,
Yeah.
she's so great.
Right?
I
Yeah.
love her.
She's fantastic. But if she doesn't come around anymore after Forbidden Door, where does that story go with her and Tony and Mariah?
The story is Mariah and Tony.
Right. Yeah.
So
So she don't think she'd be involved in it anymore.
yeah, she won't.
Okay.
She just won't be involved. Like
Yeah.
it'll
That's a
be
shame. I would love to see more of her. She should sign. That would be great.
yeah.
Yeah. They need more women. They need more women to be there regularly. Because we're gonna get into NXT Battleground, but Kalani Jordan took the North American Women's title, and I think it's fucking clear at this point that you've got to have mid-card titles for the women. And you know, and I guess you got to kind of be careful with it because you can have too many titles in general, like in AEW. Anytime I turn around, they got a fucking new title, but it's always for the men. But you know, it's been a foregone conclusion for us that there are, you know, 2, 3 titles, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 titles for the men.
Mm-hmm.
And the more women you have, you got to have, there are no stakes. That's the problem. Like anytime you see women come out and, you know, over and over, you'll see Tony facing someone that she's not going to drop to. There are no stakes. Nothing's going to happen there. But it's just kind of, you got to have like mid-card titles. What do you think?
Yeah, women need mid-card titles, like the importance of it, because it's the Ricochet's about to die. Yep, he's done. They're killing him off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just playing taps. Like just playing taps, and Davari's there and Shane Helms is there. It's hilarious. But the importance of mid-card titles is you're seeing who can eventually be the main event talent of later.
Yeah.
The thing about we're getting into Battleground, right?
Go ahead. Where we are. We're there.
Yeah. So the thing about Battleground this time, this is one of the few pay-per-view events that WWE was ever done where I legit could give a shit about the men's matches. All the women's matches were intriguing. Like
that's true. Yes.
Like everything that happened.
With the exception of one. Yeah, for me.
I was all about every one of them women's matches.
Yep.
Because that ladder match happens, and as I'm watching it, I look over. I was like, "Holy shit! 5 of these women are black."
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Fallon Henley, but like 5 of these women are black. And then yeah, it was like because Mi Chin is her father is black, and also Sal Ruka's father is black as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then yeah, it's just cool to see all of these girls just like yeah, the biracials. And then we have Kalani fucking Jordan, who literally started wrestling 2 years ago.
Right. I did not know that. That's amazing.
This is the beginning of Shawn Michaels, aka the Chef. It's just like finding these people that have talent and then just and I'm from Las Vegas, and you know it put a thug tear in my eye when she came out and she looked like the Vegas sign, like that was her entire. I was just like, home. And
I loved her gear too.
Yeah,
give me Wonder Woman colors and I'm all over it, man. Every time.
Hey, like I said, Las Vegas sign. That's what she was dressed as. So
Yeah, it was an
but-
overall fun match too.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I think one of the guys in Observers said it today, and he was just like, it's a match where everything was rehearsed. And sometimes you need that.
Oh yes, definitely. Oh, for sure.
Like,
Especially over at NXT.
it's AAA.
It's the
like
daily. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
It's well, now it's the G League because back then. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. These people are learning. Like,
Yeah, of course.
like Kalani Jordan is 2 years in.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and
And that's the point of these titles. It's steps. It's where you get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you hit these different things up to the top. If let's say, not at this point, Women's World Championship is the top, you got to have steps to get there.
Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas. Opening March 2nd. Call for reservations.
The next match was the Good Brothers. It was a Good Brothers match. Like I said,
it was fine.
Like I said, I couldn't
the same
give a
thing
fuck about any of those other matches.
Exact same. I just kind of had them on, but I wasn't super paying attention. Like, oh, that's great. Oh, it's Axiom, and that's cool. Oh, the OC. Oh, that's great. I also like them bringing over those people who are in the main roster but not really doing anything over to NXT. I think that's good. That mixes it up. Yes, Michin and the other two, Carl Gallows and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. That's a good way to mix it up. I enjoyed that.
Brothers.
Yes, they got to give them something to do. But I didn't think they would really.
No, they had no chance. Like
no,
it was
no chance. Yeah.
Like,
But no chance because of them as wrestlers, or just because it's not the right time to move the titles off of anyone.
It's not the right. It's not the right time, and plus, like, I don't think they care enough.
Shayla and Lola, I really like the look of underground matches. That's a fun gimmick.
They tried to do it during pandemic. They were doing Raw Underground, and it was kind of lame because Vince McMahon had his hands in it. So now it's a worked shoot match. It's fake.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing though, because it's definitely MMA light. They're doing all the same shit that they would do if MMA, just not hitting as hard. So it's just very soft.
Yeah, both of them are former MMA fighters, so that's
exactly.
Why.
So like, do the exact same thing you would do, except not kill each other.
Because I think she's black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and like twerks. And the funniest part is actually seeing, because after the Stand and Deliver in LA, the day of WrestleMania, like at 9:00 in the morning / noon, you fucking have that thing, and then you have to drive all the way across town you have to drive all the way the fuck across town to SoFi for the later event. But I saw, like, because Tommy was right next to who's the other Instagram baddie turned professional wrestler?
Jada Parker?
No. Nikki Lyons. Nikki Lyons and Lola Vice were like hanging out, and they're walking up stage, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, because that was the hater part of me where I was just like, oh, they're just hiring Instagram models as wrestler. Like, what about the game that I love? And then you come to find out that Shawn Michaels is actually doing a great job with these girls.
Right? Yeah.
You're just like, oh no, that's fine.
It's working. They're putting the work in.
Yeah.
On
like
purpose.
give me a woman on the indies who is, who's been on the indies for 19 years and somehow is just 22 years old. Like, give me somebody like that. And just never worked on her image at all. Don't give me these Instagram, like, these fucking. It's like, does Shawn Michaels just say, hey, you can join NXT, you can take all the thirst traps you want, but your ligament in your leg will definitely get shredded. We cannot Like you cannot not tear something.
Yeah.
That is going to happen. You like understand that. Yeah.
Or when not for the Key to Lions leading.
Exactly. Again, it's like Cora Jade and the Nikita Lyons are rehabbing together.
Oh
it's
boy.
just like, damn, let's go take some fucking thirst traps. But damn, our knees are really fucked up right now.
Poor things.
Yeah.
They got a lot of girls over there.
The cool thing about the getting back to the match, the cool thing about that match was the ending where they're just randomly beating up local enhancement Las Vegas talent.
Yeah.
And then she pushes her into the ring step and she trips over the guy and hits her head. And then she does a spinning back fist. Yeah. And then she knocks her out. And they do one of those knockouts that you've seen where one of the fighters gets knocked out, the referee stops it, and then the person gets knocked out, and then they start trying to wrestle the referee.
Yes. I was like, why are you calling it? She's clearly trying to get up. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just interesting to see that. But yeah, like that match, like of the women's matches I was excited to see. And then, what ended up becoming my favorite match of the night was the North American Championship with Obafemi.
Yeah. So?
It's because Obafemi is fucking awesome. It's just this big African man who was just like, I'm going to murder all of these wrestlers. I have no qualms about this. My tribe will not allow me to come back if I do not murder these people. And
I like the shot of him with his belt and his teeth. That's great.
Yeah. And he's it's weird because I love Keith Lee, but he's better than Keith Lee already. Like, it's not a knock, but I'm like, fuck, he's so much better than Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about,
hasn't gotten to work in a while. That's true.
Yeah. Like, he's so good. Yeah, but that ending, like, he was doing some shit because Wesley is awesome as well. Wesley, he did basically he threw him up in the air onto Joe Coffey, and everybody's just like, "Oh no, this motherfucker is different." Because like, you get to wrestle Wesley, who is just light as a feather, not even stiff as a board at all. So like, you could just throw this motherfucker around and just do a bunch of shit, and it just looks really cool. And then then he ends up winning, and that's dope. But I don't know what they're gonna do with him after that because, he's just a big ass African dude who just beats up people.
Is there anyone else to put in front of him next?
No, I mean, like, you could. If the only way he's losing that belt is through him either just like leaving or shenanigans. Yeah, and then Brian Pillman Jr. will probably be like, hey, it took me 9 people to beat you, but I was able to pin you for 3 seconds.
Right.
But yeah, that's good. And
I noticed they did a lot of those little promo videos. They had a package for some lady who's a cheerleader, and she's gonna come in and be a super baby face. Like, I'm the ray of sunshine, and the other the young man whose name I forget. Chen, I think, but he came out looking like a Sub-Zero about a week ago.
Oh,
they were doing a lot of those. They were working so hard on those. I don't have time for the doc you're supposed to see 2 whole months ago.
Oh, the one that they had to recut that because The Rock was probably looking crazy in that. Like somebody in The Rock's camp is just like, you can't release this because you look like a fucking lunatic. And like and you know how you said I was right about I said that. I literally said that when that documentary when they took down our video, and I'm like, that documentary is still coming out because The Rock wants to recut that shit, or it makes him look crazy.
Yep.
Because they said it was coming out that Wednesday, and we have not seen a fucking peep out of it.
Been 2 whole months. Oh my god! I looked back at the calendar and I was like, "Yo, that shit was 2 months ago." Wow.
And then fucking Brian Goritz is just like, Cody should have had a better BooBoo face. I'm like,
watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
What are you talking about? It's like that's what I call it. It's just like when a wrestler is knowingly about to lose a match, and then they just come off and like, hey, let me do my entrance. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Fuck,
I know. I think there's a technical term for it, but whatever it is gone. It's BooBoo face now.
Like, put on the stink face.
It's like, oh well. Hey guys.
Oh God. Oh God. It was an
I'm
epic.
contractually obligated to do
face.
this.
Contractually obligated face.
Colloquially known as BooBoo face.
I mean, that's gonna be the name of the episode. Is contractually
obligated BooBoo face.
Just like,
oh shit. Getting into Roxanne and Jordan. I guess people got excited. You know what? Who was it that said Kaz? Kaz from isn't it Kaz? Kazim. Yeah, Kaz. Because he thought that Jordan was picking up that title. And I was like, there ain't no way that someone from another promotion was actually going to get that title. And look, it doesn't mean, you know what? It doesn't mean that they're not more welcoming of it and we're going to see more of it going forward. That's clear. We're clearly moving in another direction. But I don't think they're ready yet for people from different promotions to actually hold their titles.
No.
Because it will require a complete reworking of the way they've contracted their talent for decades.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet.
Like when Jordan Grace loses that championship belt, she's definitely like
for sure. Yes.
Like her money's already good because she literally came into that Royal Rumble and you saw how good she was, and like you could see the dollars just go up around her.
Right?
It's the equivalent of
instead of Sonic rings, it's dollar signs.
Yeah, exactly. Like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And then like it's a thing where when we were watching it, she was at a whole different level than the girls in that Royal Rumble. So when this came around and she did this now, you're seeing it and you're like, oh yeah, no, she's at a different level. Yes. And I told you last week, I'm like, there has to be so many shenanigans for Roxanne Perez's small ass to even be convinced that she could beat.
Yeah.
Then it had to be, and there were shenanigans.
And there were shenanigans.
Yeah, the creepy goth girl, and then
that was cute. I actually thought that was pretty funny. Like that whole distraction with that whole distraction with Tatum, and then I was like, "Who that blonde bitch?" I was like, "Oh, it's a former Dana Brooke. Look at that."
It's like, oh shit, it's Dana Brooke with a different face. That's crazy.
Dana Brooke with a different face. That was a whole thing that I thought worked well. While we're on the way there, I think while we're on the way there for people to hold multiple titles like they do now with like New Japan and CMLL, it wasn't going to be at this show. It wasn't going to be a Battleground. That said, how far away are we from WWE doing that? I think maybe 2 years.
Yeah, we just have to get past like a certain time. And then that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Where
they're going to have to actively let their wrestlers wrestle other places regularly for it to be believable for them to hold titles from other places.
Like, I don't
know. I was listening to that and I was like, Kaz, for Jordan to win that title, she would have to regularly appear in NXT.
She's too good to, like, she will go directly to the main roster when she's
That's true. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even like she would not spend a day in NXT if she didn't want to. She's
That's
already as good, if not better, than a lot of the girls that are already there.
That's true. Yes.
If, depending on when Becky Lynch wants to come back, she will definitely.
Ooh, that would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll definitely she could easily fit into Raw.
Oh yes, yeah. And we don't have a lot of like really brolic women right now.
No.
And with the exception of like Bianca and Jade and Rhea to some extent. And she's like the shorter kind of really brolic woman. Like she is like what Ivy is trying to be, like physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And character wise too. But like
yes.
Like I was a Jordan Grace fan like when she started out. Like Crystal and I went to like one of the early shows for her back in 2017 when she was like 40 pounds heavier and thick as fuck. And then all of a sudden, when pandemic happened, she was just like, well, let me, do all the praying and vitamins possible into my arms. And
right.
And then, she just showed up and it was just like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it works for her character. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a good match. I can't believe any of y'all thought that she was going to take that title. Not because she can't, but just because this is not the way it's going to go yet. I you know what? I liked Ethan Page Trick. I thought it was a good main event. Could Jordan and Roxanne have main evented? I think so too. But that was a real great first outing. One of my favorite Canadians. Like, they left that set in shambles. Like, I was watching the end and I was like, the stairs over here, fucking dividers messed up, tables messed up, whole mess. They really tore that shit up. I loved it. Page is gonna make a great heel, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that real classic kind of like overdoing it and then going into that classic heel ego thing where, it gets the best of you, then you turn and run right into the champ's finisher. Time-honored tradition. And I feel like they hit every note just right.
Yeah, like when Ethan Page was the tag team champion, it was him and Josh Allen.
Right.
Sorry, Josh Alexander. Josh Allen is the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Him and Josh Alexander. And Ethan Page was the mouthpiece. Like, he wasn't like the best technical wrestler. Josh Alexander was the better technical wrestler. Like, he's a really good wrestler. One of the best matches of the year was him and Will Ospreay in Impact TNA. But seeing this, you're just like, okay, that was a good main event. Like, Trick is learning how to wrestle. It's going to take him longer because he's not a woman.
I still enjoy watching him.
Yeah, women go to the WWE style so much faster than men. Like that, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, that's like, it's been proven. We've seen it. Kalani Jordan fucking just did it. Like, they gravitate toward it faster. Yeah, Trick is good. Like, he's just so charismatic that sometimes you don't have to be good at professional wrestling.
Yeah, body promo.
But it's body promo. Like, Jay Cargill is body promo. Like, and she's a fucking $1 million.
Yep.
Like, if Trick decided to get some acting lessons, he could be in movies. Like,
I could definitely see him. Yeah.
Yeah, he has.
That crowd loves him.
Oh yeah, like, they're the test audience. Like, you know how Taco Bell has a test kitchen in Irvine? He's the fucking test audience, where it's just like, all right, so let's see if this works. Let's see if we can add this Cheez-It to this Crunch Wrap and then call it Crunch Wrap Supreme by Cheez-It and see if it works. And so, like,
now,
I'm saying,
it's always been called the Crunch Wrap Supreme, but now it just has a giant Cheez-It inside of it.
And then so now, like, Trick Williams, they were like, hey, we have this cheese. Let's turn it to a Crunch Wrap. And that's what Trick Williams is. Fucking Crunch Wrap. And then shout out to Sexy Red for hosting.
Yes, she was there also.
Yeah. And it really highlights when I saw her just, it's such a Las Vegas thing where you can park in front of a building and just walk into the building. That I'm like, fuck, I miss Las Vegas so much, because she parks right in front of the building and she's walking in the building with the bundles in her hands, and I'm like, I miss that place so much. In one of those, because it gets really hot, a lot of the parking has shading, and I'm like, I miss this place so much.
Oh god. All right. Okay, follow us on the social medias. YouTube, we are at Home Wrestling League. On Twitter, we're at the HWL. And Instagram at home_wrestling_league. You'll probably see a couple of extra bonus episodes coming out from us over the next 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how stuff goes. But you know how it goes here. We just leave. It just ends. We could never think of a finisher.